The Leominster City Council meeting is funded in part by DeCarolis Insurance Agency at www.decarolisinsuranceagency.com and by Avidia Bank at www.avidiabank.com.
Legal affairs at 6:50, and I guess we have a public hearing to start.
President. Good evening. My name is Peter Angelini, Chairman of Legal Affairs Committee. I'm joined tonight by third member of Legal Affairs, Mr. Robert Tossi, the Ward 1 Councilor. It's the public hearing on petition 25-24. Peter A. Angelini, Ward 5 Councilor, requests to revise the amended Leominster City Ordinance by inserting a new section regarding short-term rental units. The intention of moving forward tonight, but I understand that council sought another legal opinion. I was just informed that that opinion has just come in. I haven't had an opportunity to review it. Probably going to be seeking further time on this to have an opportunity to review the legal opinion that was just issued. In the meantime, let me go to other member of my committee, Mr. Tossi. See if you have anything you'd like to add, Mr. Tossi, to petition 25-24. No. All right. Are there any other members of the council that would like to weigh in on 25-24? Go to the public. Any members of the public that would like to speak either in favor of or in opposition to petition 25-24? The second time. Is there anyone in attendance this evening that would like to speak in favor of or in opposition to petition 25-24? And for the third and final time, is there anyone in attendance this evening that would like to speak in favor of or in opposition to petition 25-24? Seeing none, Mr. President, I think it would be my recommendation
To continue the public hearing and further time when it comes up on our.
when it comes up the second time.
Okay. All right, so we'll end up continuing that public hearing a little later in the agenda. And we have a few minutes left until we can start the public forum at 6:55. So I think it's pretty imminent. We're going to close. I just returned an email to her.
the other day, supposed to be.
Okay, it's now 6:55, so we'll conduct the public forum. The public forum is an opportunity for any member of the audience to speak on a matter specifically listed on the council agenda. Speakers will be asked to come to the microphone and state their full name and address along with identifying the specific item or items they wish to address. Each speaker is respectfully asked to keep their comments within a 2-minute time frame. The council will not be responding or answering any questions. However, at the discretion of the council president, clarification may be given. You haven't already signed up, clerk? Okay, no one has signed up to address us in the public forum, but nonetheless, I'll ask, is there any member of the public that wishes to address the city council on a matter on the agenda this evening? And for a second time, is there any member of the public that wishes to address the city council on an agenda item this evening? And a third and final time, is there any member of the public that wishes to address the city council on an agenda item this evening? Seeing none, I will declare the public forum closed and we will start the regular meeting promptly at 7 p.m.
Great job. That's outside. So. This is my. Actually, 6. They asked to do those. So you have. Some. She could. They do. Yeah. They want to force this into a government system. Basically, this can be done. I can. Say it's 75,000. Sometimes when you read how it goes. Yeah, come on. Or he was saying, well, we're going to tighten it up. We're going to go shit. That's it.
Post. 8 minutes.
Which is the treatable. That's all I can say. That's the other.
Okay, it's 7:00. I ask the council to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I'll call the roll of councilors in attendance, starting with Councilor David Cormier,
Present.
Councilor Thomas Artinger,
Present.
Councilor Angelini,
Present.
Councilor Tossi,
Present.
Councilor Shalfo Zephyr, Councilor Robbins,
Present.
Councilor Frida, myself is present. We have 8 councilors in attendance this evening. Next, we have approval of the records. The vice president is not in attendance this evening. We have records from February 12, February 26, and March 1. The clerk informs me that she has edits on all of these records, I think. Unless there's an objection, I would like to proceed with the approval of the February 12th and February 26th minutes, given the fact that we are outside of the recommendation or guidelines of the Secretary of State's office. Councilor Shalfo Zephyr.
Thank you very much. No, I understand that, and I'm sorry that it's taken so long. But I did have several edits on both of those minutes as well as the March 11th minutes, and I haven't seen those incorporated anywhere. So I'd like the opportunity just to make sure that they were incorporated the way that I submitted them, and then I'd be happy to, to vote to put them on the record.
Okay, anybody else has anything to comment on that? All right, so we will give further time to the approval of all 3 sets of records. Moving on to communications from the mayor, starting with C48.
Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests that an appropriation of $100,000 be made to the Gallagher Building Maintenance Line, the same to be transferred from the Gallagher Building Revolving Fund. This is to pay for required upgraded maintenance.
C48 is referred to the Chairman of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. President. First time on the calendar, regular course.
C48 has been given regular course. Moving on to C49.
Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests that an appropriation of $50,000 be made to the library's operating account, the same amount to be transferred from the library state aid to the public library account.
Once again, C49 is referred to the Chairman of Finance.
First time on the calendar, regular course.
C49 has been given regular course. Moving on to C50.
Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests that an appropriation of $15,000 be transferred from the library's personnel budget to the library's operating budget.
C50 is referred to the Chairman of Finance.
First time on the calendar, regular course.
Very well. C50 has been given regular course. We have 2 items under suspension of the rules. I'll entertain a motion for C55 to suspend the rules.
Mr. President, I'm going to be abstaining from this. I have a brother that serves in the fire department.
Very well, that may be done. Councilor Angelini, you moving for a suspension of the rules? I have a second. Councilor Shalfo Zephyr. All those in favor of suspending the rules for C55, please recognize in the usual manner. By a vote of 7-0, the rules have been suspended, and C55 is referred to the second member of Finance, which is, the third member of Finance, which is Councilor Angelini.
Thank you, Mr. President. On the suspension of the rules, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests an appropriation of $250,000 be made to the Fire Department Public Safety Overtime Account, same to be transferred to Excess and Deficiency Account. This is first time on the agenda, so I would ask that this also be given regular course, Mr. President.
Very well. C55 has been given regular course. C56, once again, yes, Councilor Frida.
I think the finance chair should be able to do this, even though it hasn't anything to do with that particular. This is coming out of excess and deficiency. Can we get a number? I don't think we've gotten a number of what free cash actually was. Did we get a number?
Yeah, I had that. It was 14 million some odd dollars. I had that, I think, 2 meetings ago.
We didn't get anything in writing, did we, with the free cash? Can we get something to
Sure.
show what the free cash is? And just so we know when it's coming out of these accounts.
Yeah, I'll ask her for an official report from that. Thank you.
Okay, all set, Counselor? All right, Counselor Shalfo Zephyr?
Yeah, thank you. Through the chair to the finance chair. Just to follow up on that, in addition to the excess and deficiency, detail, I'd love to see the capital. They have a capital budget, right? Because we've taken money out of that recently. So I'd like to see that as well, that what we started with is a total and then what's come out of there, excuse me, and then what our current balance is.
I think that was part of tonight's package, was it not?
Yeah, you mean the ones?
Capital Stabilization Fund
Yeah,
activity?
The opioid, we got one for the opioid stabilization fund activity. We got capital stabilization fund activity. Those are all the stabilization fund, and then the regular stabilization fund.
All set?
You're welcome.
All right, C56, once again, suspension of the rules. I'll entertain a motion to suspend the rules on C56. Counselor Shalfo Zephyr, second by Counselor Arndinger. Any discussion? All in favor, please recognize the usual manner. By a vote of 8-0, sorry, the rules have been suspended on C56, and that is referred to Counselor Arndinger, acting Ways and Means Chair.
Thank you, Mr. President. First time on the calendar, regular course.
Very well. You want to read it for the public?
Public, okay.
Yeah.
Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests to authorize the mayor to pursue a grant through the Massachusetts Vulnerability Preparedness Program, MVP, to resolve flooding in the Burridge Avenue and Mascoma Avenue area.
Very well. Thank you, Counselor. In regular course, C56 has been given. Well, yes, Counselor Freedom. Sure.
Various issues that have been discussed up in the Mary Mav area. The street, that whole section with some serious flooding that they've been dealing with. Is there a possibility of getting additional funding under the Vulnerability Act? Can we just get some information on that?
Maybe we could get a letter of explanation from Wendy Weeks, the grant administrator, as to the availability generally of funding under that program to the city. That satisfy you, Councilor Frida? Thank you. Councilor Shalfo Zephyr?
It would also be helpful, I think, if we asked the mayor, because I know that he's proposing something, the first step in helping out with the Pleasant Street flooding has been to, we appropriated the money to secure the home, and there's going to be follow-up flood remediation there. So we know that at least something starting on Pleasant Street. This is a really good start, I think, for the design for the Mascoma Ave and Burridge Ave. And then third is Merriam Avenue, another big, impacted place. So if we could just ask the mayor, okay, well, we've got two things that are started, what's the kind of timeline, for further work to address some of these areas that were flooded badly and need remediation?
So I'm going to try to clarify your question. You want from the mayor a specific timeline as to any other projects to address flood damage?
You know what? It doesn't have to be a specific timeline. It could be a list of things. We know what we've done so far on Pleasant Street. We know that we have this before us tonight to deal with the North Leominster problem. We know that there are existing problems on Merriam Avenue, and I think there are other areas in the city as well. So it would be helpful to know, geez, okay, we've got two of these things kind of, being actively worked on. Is there a plan to address Council Free's question about Merriam Avenue? I have people that call me about Merriam Avenue all the time because it's terrible. So if the mayor could give it's an update, and if he has any idea when he might be able to take some action on further flood remediation, that would be helpful to me so that I can tell my constituents, that it's in the pipeline or, it's not. That makes sense. I mean, it's not, it's just,
that's fine.
Okay.
We can have the clerk send that letter. I would also encourage you to contact them directly.
I'm happy to do that. I mean, I can certainly contact him directly, I think.
But we'll do both.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, we're going to move on to appointments now, starting with C51.
C51, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requested the City Council approve the addition of Ray Racine to the membership of the School Building Committee for Fallbrook Elementary School.
C51 is referred to the acting chairman of Ways and Means.
First time on the calendar, regular course, please.
C51 may be given regular course. I'll just say at the outset that both Councilor Angelini and I are members of the Fallbrook School Building Committee, and I see both C51 and C52 as being pro forma and met things of general application. I don't see any reason for us to recuse ourselves, at least I'll speak for myself. So I'm happy to move forward with both of these this evening. C51 is regular course. C52.
Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests that the City Council vote to remove James Whitney and Gregory Thomas from the School Building Committee for Fallbrook Elementary School as a result of other commitments. They are no longer able to serve on the committee.
C52 is also referred to the chairman of Ways and Means.
First time on the calendar, regular course, please.
C52 has been given regular course. C53.
Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests the appointment of the following: Council on Aging, term to expire 4/15/27, Karen Bask, 47 Laurie Drive, Apartment D, Leominster, Mass. Disability Commission, term to expire 4/15/2027, Laura Rose Moss, 24 White Pond Road, Leominster, Mass.
C53 is referred to the chairman of Ways and Means.
Again, regular course, please, Mr. President.
Very well. C53 may be given regular course. Councilor Frida. I guess that's the chairman's predilection. Mr. Chairman, are you requesting interviews with these folks?
We can request it, yeah. These are a few appointments. The first two, right? Yeah.
All right, so we'll have the clerk set those up. Moving on to C54.
Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests the reappointment of the following: Board of Appeals, term to expire 4/15/2027, Nicholas Gravel, 127 Spruce Street, Leominster, Mass. Conservation Commission, term to expire 4/15/2027, Michael Seachy, 270 Hill Street, Leominster, Mass. Richard Gulick, 151 Old Farm Road, Leominster, Mass. Charles Raymond, 86 Pierce Street, Leominster, Mass. Council on Aging, terms to expire 4/15/2027, Adriana Fotakis, 97 Lindell Avenue, Leominster, Mass. Betty David, 87 Carriage Court, Leominster, Mass. Larry Giannakis Sr., 147 Grant Street, Leominster, Mass. Historical Commission, terms to expire 4/15/2027, Michael Kerrigan, 43 Hamilton Street, Leominster, Mass. Patrick Lapointe, 39 Carolyn Street, Leominster, Mass. Ronald Gerard, 15 Foster Court, Leominster, Mass. Library Board of Trustees, terms to expire 4/15/2027, Mark Bedanza, 23 Kendall Hill Road, Leominster, Mass. Lawrence N4, 69 Sharamar Drive, Leominster, Mass. Recreation Commission, terms to expire 4/15/2027, Thomas Bissonette, 102 8th Street, Leominster, Mass. Maureen Donatelli, 173 Lindell Avenue, Leominster, Mass. Jeffrey O'Neill, 158 Lindell Avenue, Leominster, Mass. Douglas Cormier, 1139 Elm Street, Leominster, Mass. Forest Warden, term to expire 4/15/2027, Paul Kennedy, 19 Church Street, Leominster, Mass.
Okay, C54 is referred to the chairman of Ways and Means.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have a letter from regarding Betty David that has to be removed from this list. So I suggest that we do that and then the regular course.
Procedurally, I think it's not before the council yet.
Okay.
The regular meeting.
Okay. Regular
So
course.
why don't we just give it regular course, and then next time around when it comes up, we can take care of it then. That makes sense. So C54 has been given regular course. Moving on to petitions, first time on the agenda.
41-24, Officer Julio Ramos, Leominster Police Department, request to amend Chapter 13 in the revised ordinance entitled Motor Vehicles and Traffic, Chapter 13, Section 13-24 of the revised ordinance entitled No Parking on Certain Streets by inserting the following text: Church Street West Side, south of Merriam Avenue for 136 feet. Church Street West Side, starting from 248 feet south from Marion Avenue, ending at the intersection of Church Street and West Street. See attached map.
Petition 41-24 is referred to the chairman of Legal Affairs.
Thank you, Mr. President. First time on the calendar, regular course with the Mayor's Office and the DPW. Madam Clerk.
Well, 41-24 can be given regular course. To set up a public hearing, date and time.
April 8th, 6:50 PM.
Okay, all those in favor of setting up 41-24 for a public hearing on April 8th at 6:50 PM, please recognize usual manner. Anyone opposed? By a vote of 8-0, 41-24 has been given regular course with referrals to mayor and DPW, and a public hearing has been established for April 8th at 6:50 PM. Matters before the city council, starting with the financial report.
Thank you, Mr. President. We began the fiscal year in our stabilization fund with $21,785,513.54. We've added interest in the amount of $377,311.40. We've repaid $4,115,600. There is still an outstanding item in the amount of $250,000 that we took out of here that has not been repaid, but I am assuming it will be before the end of the fiscal year, which is C-44. So after you do all the math, we have an ending balance of $21,912,824.94, and that is the financial report.
Well, thank you very much. Moving on to matters under the Finance Committee, starting with C-46. Is the chairman ready to report? I think you're going to
Yes,
recuse
Mr.
yourself,
President.
right?
Yes, C-46. I serve as the treasurer of the Disability Commission, so I am going to abstain from this particular item.
All right, so Councilor Angelini, you are the one and only member this evening of the Finance Committee. Are you ready to report?
$0.50. Made to the Disability Commission parking fines account, the same to be amount to be transferred from the excess and deficiency account. So what I have on this, I know that the math has changed since this letter was issued. Says from Jennifer Reddington, well, it's to Jennifer Reddington from Nicole LaPlante here. Jennifer, I've just finished my analysis of the disability parking fines account from July 2023 to December 31st, 2024. We will need to move $850 from general fund cash to the Disability Commission parking fines account 1550121 477-100. This is necessary because the city agreed as of February 2013 to split all handicap fines collected with the Disability Commission. And it cites General Law, Chapter 40, Section 8J, accepted February 14th, 1994. That we were sent an amended amount on the transfer that's being requested. It is now $1,012.50. And it would be, I would ask you to check with members of my committee. But
You don't have any.
My sole recommendation, grant C-46.
Very well, you've heard the recommendation of the Legal Affairs, I'm sorry, the Finance Committee to grant C-46. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of granting C-46, please recognize in the usual manner. Anyone opposed? By a vote of 7-0, C-46 has been granted. Does the chairman have an order?
To the disability, oh, thank you. Sum of $1,012.50 made to the Disability Commission parking fines account, same to be transferred from the excess and deficiency account. Move to adoption of the order.
You've heard the request for the adoption of the order. Is there anything further? Seeing none, all those in favor of adopting the order, please say yay.
Yay.
Anyone opposed? By a vote of 7-0, the order has been adopted. Back, Councilor David Cormier, C-47, are you ready to report?
Yes, Mr. President, C-47, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests that the appropriation of $55,000 be made to Gamma from the capital expense line in the general fund, the same amount to be transferred from the opioid stabilization fund. So as everybody knows or should know, the city received some opioid money. It was in the amount, because we do have that here, originally we started the fiscal year with the $319,430.37 in that account. So what this request is for, They gave a pretty lengthy explanation, but I'm going to summarize it, and if this is on file in the city clerk's office. Basically, Gamma is a woman-owned 501c3 nonprofit organization that strives to provide meaningful support, training, treatment, avenues to employment, and personalized opportunities to individuals with disabilities and substance use disorders, and to offer quality transportation services to the people who live in communities we serve. I'll go on to read that their objective is to provide safe, reliable transportation for their PRSC members to medical, clinical, behavioral health, group appointments, and entertainment trips. Many individuals, when they walk into the center, are in early recovery and have lost many basic needs that we take for granted, such as housing, employment, and transportation. This puts them at a disadvantage when leveraging much needed support that a PRSC provides. The project request is that they are asking the city of Leominster to utilize funds from the opioid settlement fund for the procurement of a passenger van for Gamma to be used for transportation operations at the Ripple Effects PRSC in Leominster. Their budget, we utilize the Ford Transit 350 passenger van for our programs. These vans can accommodate up to 15 passengers, including the driver. We have a fleet mechanic on staff that maintains these vehicles to keep them performing at maximum efficiency. So they are basically buying a van so that they can, transport people that are in need of these essential services. And it would be my recommendation that we grant C-47, and I'll ask that you check with the other member of my committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Councilor Angelini? Very well. You've heard the unanimous recommendation of the Finance Committee to grant C-47. Is there any further discussion? Councilor Frida?
We probably voted on that, but do we know what $1,000 the Wachusett Regional was out of that fund? That Wachusett Regional School?
No.
I think it's the recovery center on Route 2 that you can see from Route 2. It used to be what was that place?
Westminster Village Inn.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, you can see it from Route 2. We gave them money, must have been earlier in the fiscal year.
It was.
Right.
Wachusett Regional.
No.
No. Could look back, but yeah.
Any other questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor of granting C-47, please recognize your usual manner. Anyone opposed? C-47 has been granted by a vote of 8-0. Does the chairman have an order?
Yes, Mr. President, order that the sum of $55,000 be made to the Gamma out of the capital expense line in the general fund, the same amount to be transferred from the opioid stabilization fund. Move for the adoption of the order.
You've heard the request to adopt the order. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of adopting the order, please say yay. Yay. Anyone opposed? The order is adopted by a vote of 8-0. Moving on to legal affairs, 25-24. Is the chairman ready to report?
Delaney, Ward 5 Councilor, requests to revise the amended Leominster City Ordinance by inserting a new section regarding short-term rental units. As you know, Mr. President, we held a public hearing this evening. And I referenced the fact that another legal opinion on this matter was requested at our last meeting. The opinion was issued late this afternoon. I haven't seen it yet, so I would be recommending that we continue this public hearing. So I'm asking for further time. We did establish the public hearing date, of course, and I would ask you to check with the other member of my committee.
Councilor Tossi?
I agree.
All right, so the clerk is suggesting a continued public hearing on April 8th at 6:45 p.m. And you've heard the unanimous recommendation of legal affairs to give 25-24 further time and establish that hearing date. Is there any further discussion? Councilor Frida?
We got that opinion late this afternoon.
5:21 PM. 5:21 PM it came in.
Can you read the legal opinion so we know what it is?
I can summarize it for you. What it says is essentially, I don't think we need to, that's why. So, I mean, you can read it at your leisure, but what it says essentially is this city does not have a general prohibition ordinance saying that anything not provided for under our zoning ordinance is automatically prohibited, but it is the opinion of the city solicitor that the short-term rentals in Residence A is probably prohibited in Leominster. However, he recommended that it probably be better to pass something specifically suggesting that if that is the aim of the city council. That's what the opinion says.
So are you calling it a zoning ordinance?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's a zone, he's talking about an amendment to the zoning ordinance. That's correct.
So it requires.
Well,
majority vote.
he's suggesting that our zoning ordinance does not prohibit something. So whether the petition that we pass is a zoning ordinance or not, I suppose is still up for debate, but he is opining that our zoning ordinance as it currently is constituted probably prohibits this activity in Residence A, but if we wanted to be more proactive about it, we should probably adopt something, whatever that might be.
So the point would be it'd be a supermajority vote.
I would suggest quite possibly, but I can't say that for sure at this point. Well, we'll know it when we, I suppose, when we take it up.
Okay, so what was the purpose of the opinion then?
Purpose of the opinion was to tell us the impact of a certain law case on the proposed action by this council via that petition.
Okay, so we're going to debate as a council as to whether it's a zoning ordinance or not, whether it requires a 2/3 vote or it doesn't. We're going to have that discussion next meeting.
I guess we need to establish that one way or another, don't we? So yes, the answer to that is yes. And I suppose it depends on, we could also ask Mr. Riley or Attorney Riley for, I don't think it would be very much for him to opine on whether what's proposed is a zoning ordinance or not. I have my own view of that, but I'd prefer to talk to him about it. But your point as to establishing that before, that's probably something we should take up right out of the gate, the very beginning.
Well, I think that's important to know because it's so, whether it's a super, I think, and I have an opinion too, I think if somebody were to look into the city for a short-term rental, the natural course would be to call the building inspector or to call the zoning or the planning board, wouldn't be to call the clerk. So that's my point on why I think it belongs in zoning. Because it is.
I understand. I understand your point. We have, for example, also noise ordinances in the city that aren't in the zoning ordinance. They're in the general ordinance. Those could very well be in the zoning ordinance as well. So you're right to suggest we have to establish what we're doing here. It's critical to know that for the vote. Councilor Shalfo-Zephyr?
Yep, thank you very much. I did get a copy of this because I was on the email because I had asked Attorney Riley a question because I was trying to get clarification in order to help the specific problem I think that we've all been trying to deal with. And he didn't answer the question about the Nantucket recent case, which I would like to have him opine on. And what he does say towards the end of this, and I'll quote from the email, the proliferation of STR, short-term rental, is still a relatively new phenomenon, and if the city wishes to regulate it, revisions to the zoning ordinance would be the appropriate mechanism, in my opinion. He doesn't say general ordinance, he says zoning ordinance. So I read that as a pretty clear, indication that if we do want to go further and do anything more specific, that would be the way to address it.
That's fine.
Thank you.
Anything else, Councilor Angelini?
I just think it's important to note that the Nantucket case, the last paragraph that the at-large counsel has sort of recommended everyone read, the Supreme Judicial Court ruled that short-term rentals are inconsistent with Residence A zoning. And the reason that case took so long to play out through the courts up to the Supreme Judicial Court is because Nantucket did not have an ordinance in place. So they were relying on what our building inspector is relying on currently. So it's not the most efficient way to deter this or correct this problem or to rein it in. I can tell you that I have constituents that have been waiting weeks now for a response on an email with a question. So that's basically the gist of the Nantucket case, is that building inspector's position was different than our building.
It doesn't say anything different than the Linfield case, frankly, no. Council Frida?
I just found it ironic, and it might be worth a discussion. John Giorgio was the attorney in Nantucket,
I saw that.
and he apparently sat with both sides trying to settle the issue with the city, with the town, and because he realized the importance of the short-term rental, but also the issue with short-term rental. So, we worked closely with Brian Riley, so although he's down in Chatham most of the time now. And I understand the counselor across from me with the constituency, but there are so many phone calls that I have gotten regarding the short-term rental. What happens with even just a rental at will in a single-family home, whether somebody stays for 2 weeks or 2 months or not knowing when they go in. I mean, there are a lot of areas of the city that's going to be affected by this. I don't think it can be looked at for one particular house. And I think that's probably what the biggest issue is here. And I think, that's a discussion to be taken carefully.
Well, yeah, but I understand, and we will have that discussion. Right now, we're looking at further timing this and setting up a continued public hearing. So is there any further discussion? I don't see any need to bring them back. Unless anybody else thinks we need to bring them back. Building commissioner for the 8th. Everybody's stone-faced, so I'm going to take that as a no. All right, so again, the recommendation is for further time and to continue the public hearing until April 8th at 6:45 p.m. All those in favor of those two items, please recognize usual manner. Anyone opposed, by a vote of 8-0, 25-24 has been given further time, and a continued public hearing has been established for April 8th at 6:45 p.m. Moving on to Ways and Means and 36-24. Mr. Chairman, are you ready to report?
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, I am. 3624, Mark R. Emma launched Leominster at 118 Commercial Road, Leominster, Mass. Request to renew bowling alley license for 8 lanes. At the last meeting, there were some questions raised, I believe, about a altercation, and we were waiting for an opinion from the police department, which we received, and he said, the chief says, at launch, 2 females from separate families got into a disagreement that ended in a physical altercation. Police investigated, and the females will be summoned into court for various criminal charges and trespassing. It's fine to sign off on their permit. So my recommendation is that we approve this permit.
Very well, and
That's me. I agree.
you agree? Thank you, Councilor Cormier, for the assist. You've heard the EMS recommendation of the Ways and Means Committee to grant 36-24. Is there any further discussion? 36-24. You're on the wrong agenda. There's another agenda. There's an amended agenda that included the.
I'm using the agenda that was in my packet. So I don't.
She passed one out tonight. It's amended. Okay. Is that Counselor? Okay. So you heard the unanimous recommendation of Ways and Means Committee to grant 38-24. Is there any further discussion? 36-24. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of granting 36-24, please recognize the usual manner. Anyone opposed? By a vote of 8-0, 36-24 has been granted. Moving on to 38-24.
Mr. President, 3824, 3940, and 4024, can we take those in block, please?
I think we should probably vote. I think we should vote them separately.
Okay, thank you. All right, 3824, GameStop Inc. requests to renew a license at 26 Orchard Hill Park Drive, Leominster, Mass. And this was given regular course on 3/11. And I've reviewed the paperwork and we have all the required paperwork. And my recommendation is to grant 3824.
I'll ask Council Cormier.
I'm in agreement.
You've heard the unanimous recommendation of the Ways and Means Committee to grant 38-24. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of granting 38-24, please recognize the usual manner. Anyone opposed? By a vote of 8-0, 38-24 has been granted. Moving on to 39-40.
39-40, Everything Cutie Inc. requests to renew secondhand license at 1021 Central Street, Leominster, Mass. Again, I reviewed the paperwork. Everything is in order. And my recommendation is that we grant 3940.
Council David Cormier.
I agree.
We've heard the unanimous recommendation of the Ways and Means Committee to grant 39-40. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of granting 39-40, please recognize the usual manner. Anyone opposed? 39-40 has been granted. Moving on to 40-24.
40-24, Everything Cutie Inc. requests to renew a secondhand license at 901 Central Street, Leominster, Mass. Again, I've reviewed the paperwork and everything is in order. My recommendation is that we grant 40-24.
Council Cormier.
I agree.
You've heard the MS recommendation to grant 40-24. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of granting 40-24, please recognize the usual manner. Anyone opposed? By a vote of 8-0, 40-24 has been granted. Moving on to new business. First reading of an ordinance. Is the chairman ready to report?
Denial Building Commissioner requests to update a plumbing permit fee schedule. In the year 2024, well, all right. An ordinance be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Leominster as follows. Amending Chapter 4 of the revised ordinances entitled Buildings. Chapter 4 of the revised ordinance entitled Buildings is hereby amended by deleting Section 4-2 entitled Gas Piping Installations and Appliance Fees in its entirety, and by inserting in its place the following text. Plumbing and gas permit fees. New construction. New construction consists of single-family and two-family houses, additions, and indirect installations, i.e. gas to electric, gas to combination, etc. Plumbing, basic, $50 plus $6 per fixture. Gas, basic, $50 plus $6 per appliance. Commercial, buildings and industrial. Plumbing, basic, $75 plus $10 per fixture. Gas, basic, $75 plus $10 per appliance. Replacements or remodeling, repairs, renovations, alterations, single and two family. Plumbing, basic, $35 plus $6 per fixture. Gas, basic, $35 plus $6 per appliance. Commercial buildings, plumbing, basic, $55 plus $8 per fixture. Gas, basic, $55 plus $8 per appliance. Reinspection, $50 per inspection. Written opinion is $30. Inspections related to written opinion, $30. Interpretations of fees. All interpretations of the attached fee structure will be made by the appropriate division director of the Division of Code Enforcement. The interpretation of the director will be final. Any fee for an item not specifically listed in the manual will be determined by the division director and will be an official interpretation. Working or operating without permits. Any contractor, owner, lessee, or operator failing to obtain a required permit in accordance with applicable law, ordinances, or regulations will be subject to a $100 surcharge. This surcharge will cover additional department costs incurred in addition to the normal fee. Inspection. All inspections are by personnel appointment only. Personal appointment only. Important notice. There shall be absolutely no inspection scheduled via notes on my desk. Words already written on the permit application, verbal request from the secretary, other inspectors, homeowners, or other contractors. Please contact me at 978-962-3567 or fax 978-840-0039. Penalty for work that is started before the permit is issued. The fee will be doubled. Mr. President, it would be my recommendation that we adopt the first reading of this ordinance, and I would ask you to check with the third member of my committee.
Council Tosti.
I agree.
You've heard the unanimous recommendation of the Legal Affairs Committee to adopt 30-24. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of adopting 30 dash. Yeah, that's right. So this will be by roll call vote, starting with Councilor David Cormier,
Yay.
Councilor Arninger,
Yay.
Councilor Angelini,
Yay.
Councilor Tossi, Councilor Shalfo Zephyr,
Yay.
Councilor Robbins,
Yay.
Councilor Frida,
Yay.
and I'll be recorded as yay. First reading is adopted by a vote of 8-0. We have no old business. Do we have anything under the community calendar? Yes, Councilor Shalfo Zephyr.
I do have a question. I just want to go back to petition 3624. When was this amended? It was
Today.
It was added to the calendar today.
Yes.
I mean, can we do that without suspending the rules or without? I mean, the original agenda was filed on Thursday afternoon, right?
It was,
Instead
yeah.
for the open meeting law. So then this petition is added to the agenda on Monday morning.
Yes.
I mean, I have a question about, did
We did it. We voted on it. It was a clerical error. We voted on it. Any other old business? Council Frida?
Yeah. Figure it out. Is it 19 Church Street, the fire department?
Yes.
We get an accurate address for Paul Kennedy?
I will ask the mayor's office to amend it from what I have on file in our office, but that's how it came.
We should probably update some of these, because as I was just looking at the others, once I noticed that, Pat LaPointe has since moved as well. So maybe when reappointed, we should update their addresses,
Good idea.
just so that our records are accurate.
I will let the mayor's office
I
know.
don't know any of the other people. I just know those.
Yeah, no, I'll let the mayor's
I think
office
he was
know.
living in the fire department when something happened. I mean,
That wouldn't be good.
you know, not my
Okay.
decision.
Good point. Well, clerk will inquire as to correcting and updating those addresses.
I didn't check earlier either, but I'm assuming my microphone's working tonight.
Anything else under the community calendar? Council Arninger.
I have something from the Office of Emergency Management. They're offering CPR classes on the second Saturday of every month. And the reason I bring this up is that they're also talking about how to use an AED. We have these in so many public buildings today, but I don't know if many people, the instructions are fairly simple, but I think it would be good for people to take this class and learn how to use an AED because it may save somebody's life.
That's great. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. What time do they start? Do you know?
Second Saturday of every month, it says call to make a reservation, so they don't give a time.
I see. And that's on Carter Street at
Carter Street,
at
yeah.
the emergency management facility.
Right.
Okay, thank you, Council.
Is that- Is that training free?
Pardon me?
Counselor, is that training free?
Free.
It is
Yes, free.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay, anything else under the community calendar? Seeing nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Councilor Cormier, Council Shalfo Zephyr, all those in favor of adjourning, please use in a recognized usual manner. We are adjourned.
The Leominster City Council meeting is funded
Yep.
in part by the
Same to you.
Carolus Insurance Agency at www.decarolisunsuranceenagency.com and by Avidia Bank at www.avidiabank.com.